Welcome back. Tonight we drift through the sleepy streets of Barcelona. So wherever you are, however your day has been, you have nothing to do now but rest. There are no twists tonight, nothing to follow, nothing you need to remember in the morning. A city of golden stone and iron balconies, breathing slow beneath a warm dusk. We'll drift slowly, in no hurry to be anywhere at all. If these journeys help you rest, you're welcome to follow along, but only if you'd like to. And if you're listening now, leave the name of your city and the time where you are. Wherever you're listening from, you're in good company tonight. So let yourself settle, let your shoulders soften, and let your eyes close whenever they're ready. Breathe in slowly, and let it go. There's no need to stay awake for any of this. Just let the streets of Barcelona come to you. When you look upon a map of Barcelona, the first thing that strikes the eye is the vast, perfect grid stretching for miles, a district known as the Eixample. This was never intended as a mere plan for streets. It was conceived in the 1850s as a radical social project. The engineer Ildefons Cerdà, contemplating the old walled city as a place of shadows and rampant disease, envisioned a more humane alternative. He imagined an egalitarian city where every resident could enjoy sufficient light and air, a design concerned less with traffic and more with public health. Within each block of his meticulously planned grid, Cerdà designated a green space, a garden intended to function as the lungs of the neighborhood, and a quiet refuge from urban density. It was an optimistic vision of a city built for its people, holding the promise of a healthier life. As you walk through the Eixample, you begin to notice how the corners of the buildings are consistently sliced off, creating small open octagons at every intersection, instead of sharp right angles. This distinctive feature was not conceived for aesthetic reasons, though it does lend the district a unique feeling of openness. It was another instance of Ildefons Cerdà's remarkable foresight. While designing the city in an age of horse-drawn carts, he was already contemplating a future with new forms of transport, which he termed steam-powered locomotives of the street. We would simply call them trams. He calculated the turning radius these future machines would require, and designed the chamfered corners to accommodate them, knowing they would also provide better visibility for all. He was building a city for a future he could only imagine, making space for things that did not yet exist. For a significant portion of the 20th century, Barcelona effectively had its back to the sea, its waterfront, a forbidding wall of industry composed of railway lines, warehouses, and derelict factories. It was a working coast, not a place intended for people. Then came the 1992 Olympic Games, which the city viewed as far more than a sporting event. It was a catalyst for complete reinvention. The Olympics provided the perfect pretext for a massive urban overhaul. With the world's attention as its motivation, the city undertook a monumental task, demolishing the old industrial waterfront and clearing away the grime of a century. In its place, miles of new, golden beaches were created, and for the first time in its modern history, Barcelona opened itself to the Mediterranean. The Olympics gave the city back its sea, a transformation that continues to define it. The green hill that rises above the port, known as Montjuic, is today a place of parks, museums, and tranquil gardens. For centuries, however, it was a symbol of fear. A massive fortress sits upon its summit, and its cannons were not always pointed outwards to defend the city. They were often aimed directly at the citizens of Barcelona below. The fortress served as a tool of state control, a constant, ominous reminder of who held power, and was used to bombard the city on several occasions. Its transformation, therefore, was a profound moment of civic reclamation. For the 1929 International Exposition, the hill was entirely reimagined, its slopes converted into public parks and grand pavilions. A place of oppression became a space for culture and leisure, as the city took back the hill, turning a painful history into a place of peace for everyone. In 1854, the great medieval walls of Barcelona were finally brought down, an event that was not the result of a military defeat but a massive public celebration. For centuries these walls had defined the city, yet they had also become a prison. Inside, the population swelled, but the city could not expand, leading to impossibly dense streets and dangerously tall buildings. Disease was rampant in the dark, airless quarters, as the walls were effectively suffocating Barcelona. When the order for demolition was finally given, the citizens themselves took up pickaxes and torches, tearing down the stones that had hemmed them in for so long. It was a moment of incredible release, a collective exhale for the entire city. The demolition of the walls was not an end, but a beginning that allowed the modern, sprawling Barcelona we know today to finally be born. The neighborhood of Barceloneta feels distinctly different from the rest of the city. Its narrow, straight streets arranged in a tight grid that leads directly to the sea. This unique layout tells the story of its origin. In the mid-18th century, this land did not even exist. It was reclaimed from the sea, built upon sand and marsh. The new neighborhood was constructed for a very specific purpose. The king had just completed the massive Ciutadella military fortress, a project that necessitated the demolition of a large, existing part of the city. The residents of that area were displaced and left without homes. Barceloneta was therefore designed and built to rehouse these people. It was a planned community for fishermen and port workers, a grid of modest homes laid out on new land, forever tied to the military project that had so profoundly uprooted their lives. As you walk through Barcelona's Eixample district, you are surrounded by a forest of fantastical buildings, the architecture of modernism, a style of incredible creativity and expense. One might wonder where all the money for such a spectacle came from. The immense wealth that funded this architectural flowering had two primary sources. First, there were the local industrialists, owners of the textile factories that powered the city's economy. But there was also another group, known as the Indianos. These were Catalans who had journeyed to the Spanish colonies, especially Cuba, and made vast fortunes in industries like sugar and tobacco. Upon returning to Barcelona, they were eager to display their success, building lavish, ostentatious homes, and competing with one another for the most spectacular facade. These buildings became monuments to their New World wealth, forever changing the face of their Old World city. The name most associated with Barcelona's architecture is, of course, Antoni Gaudí. Yet his genius required a partner, someone who not only possessed the funds to finance his wild visions, but also the faith to see them through. That partner was the industrialist Eusebio Güell. Their relationship was far more than that of architect and client. It was one of the most significant creative partnerships in the city's history. Güell didn't just hire Gaudí, he shared his vision and trusted his unconventional methods, granting him the freedom to experiment and push the boundaries of architecture. Without Güell's steady patronage and profound understanding, some of Barcelona's most iconic works would simply not exist. There would be no surreal landscape at Park Güell, no fantastical urban palace in the Palau Güell. Their collaboration was the engine that powered a unique architectural revolution, leaving a legacy carved in stone. The story of Barcelona begins on a small, unassuming hill, a place you could easily walk past today. Yet it is the city's original heart. The hill is called Mount Tabor, and it was here that the Romans founded their colony Bartino, more than 2,000 years ago. From a modern perspective, their choice might seem peculiar, as the hill is not directly on the sea but situated slightly inland. The Romans, however, were not seeking a beach resort, they were looking for a strategic position. Mount Tabor offered a small, defensible rise, with a good view of the coastal plain and the sea approaches. This practical military decision, made 2 millennia ago, fixed the location of the city's core. The original Roman settlement is what we now call the Gothic Quarter, and that ancient choice of a small hill is the reason the city's oldest streets are precisely where they are. For hundreds of years, the lifeblood of Barcelona was not a road but a waterway, known as the Rec Comtal, an open-air canal that snaked through the city. Its origins were ancient, adapted from a Roman aqueduct that had once brought water to the colony of Barcino. During the medieval period, this canal evolved into an industrial engine. It flowed through the districts we now call La Ribera and El Born, and its water powered the city's mills, fed the tanneries, the dye works, and the many other crafts that made the city prosperous. The Rec Comtal shaped the economic geography of the medieval city, determining where industries could operate, and where neighborhoods of craftsmen would flourish. The canal is long gone now, buried beneath the streets, but its path dictated the development of a huge part of the old city. In the year 1714, Barcelona fell. The city's defeat in the War of the Spanish Succession was a catastrophic event, resulting in the loss of Catalan laws, institutions, and autonomy. To ensure the city could never rise up again, the victorious king ordered the construction of a massive military fortress, the Ciutadella, for which a huge section of the Ribera neighborhood was demolished. This fortress was not built to defend Barcelona from foreign enemies. It was constructed to control its own people. Its cannons were pointed inwards, a constant threat to the citizens. For more than a century, it stood as a hated symbol of occupation and suppression. The story of the Ciutadella is crucial to understanding the city's deep-seated desire for self-governance, as it was a physical scar representing a profound political wound. During the 19th century, Barcelona earned the nickname, the Factory of Spain, becoming the heart of the country's industrial revolution, a city of steam, smoke, and textiles. This industrial boom created immense fortunes for a new class of factory owners, but it also created a new working class, as thousands moved to the city from the countryside to work in the mills. This migration led to the rapid growth of new neighborhoods like Poblenou and Sants, built around the factories. This progress, however, came at a cost, creating deep social divisions between the wealthy bourgeoisie and the poor proletariat. These tensions would simmer for decades, defining the city's turbulent politics, as the strikes, uprisings, and anarchist movements of the next 100 years all had their roots in the social landscape forged by the Industrial Revolution. The Age of Steam arrived in Spain on a short stretch of track along the Catalan coast. In 1848, the very first railway in the entire Iberian Peninsula began to operate, running from Barcelona to the nearby town of Matara. This was more than just a new form of transport, it was a statement that cemented Barcelona's role as a forward-thinking hub of industry and commerce. The railway hugged the coastline, and its path dictated the way the city would expand in the decades to come, spurring development all along the coastal corridor, and connecting the city's factories to the wider world. The decision to build that first line was a bet on the future, a bet that tied Barcelona's destiny to iron steam and relentless forward motion, a physical manifestation of the city's ambition and industrial might. In 1888, Barcelona invited the world to visit for its Universal Exposition, the city's grand debut on the international stage, and a chance to showcase its industrial power and artistic flair. To prepare for the event, the city needed a centerpiece, a grand public space. The site they chose was deeply symbolic, the grounds of the old Ciutadella fortress. The hated military installation had recently been turned over to the city, and for the exposition, most of the remaining buildings were demolished. In their place, a beautiful new park was created, the Parc de la Ciutadella. A place of military oppression was transformed into a space for public leisure, science and art. The exposition was a huge success, and its enduring legacy was this park, a powerful symbol of the city's ability to reclaim its own history and build a more open future. During the Spanish Civil War in the late 1930s, Barcelona was a city of fervent ideals, a stronghold of the Republic, and for a time, a remarkable laboratory for anarchist self-government, where workers took over factories and collectives ran public services. But this period of revolutionary hope was also a time of unprecedented terror. Barcelona became one of the first major European cities to suffer systematic aerial bombing, a new and horrifying form of warfare, aimed not just at military targets but at civilians, designed to break the city's morale. The constant air raid sirens, the nights spent in shelters, and the destruction of entire neighborhoods left a deep psychological scar. The physical wounds on the buildings were a visible reminder of the trauma inflicted from the sky, a dark prelude to what the rest of Europe would soon experience. After the Civil War ended in 1939, a long and quiet struggle began in Barcelona. The victorious regime of Francisco Franco viewed Catalan culture as a threat, and, for decades, actively suppressed the Catalan language. It was banned from schools, public administration and the media. Street names were changed to Spanish, and speaking Catalan in public was strongly discouraged. This policy of repression, however, had an unintended effect. Instead of erasing Catalan identity, it made it stronger, as the language and culture went underground, preserved in homes and clandestine meetings. It became a symbol of resistance and resilience. This long period of quiet defiance fueled a desire for autonomy that, when Franco finally died in 1975, exploded into the public sphere as a powerful force that had been gathering strength in the shadows for nearly 40 years. Barcelona is a city pressed between the mountains and the sea. To its back stands the Calçotada mountain range, a massive green wall that rises steeply behind the urban fabric. This natural boundary has been one of the most significant factors in Barcelona's development, acting as a hard stop that has prevented the kind of endless suburban sprawl consuming so many other cities. With nowhere to expand backwards, Barcelona has been forced to grow in other ways. It has expanded up and down the coast, and it has grown upwards, becoming a dense, compact city. The mountains have also preserved a vast natural park right at the city's back door, a place for escape and recreation. This green backdrop is not just a beautiful view. It is a fundamental constraint that has given the city its distinctive, concentrated form and character. For much of the mid-20th century, another city existed within Barcelona, hidden in plain sight. On the slopes of Montjuic and in other peripheral areas, vast shantytowns known as barracas grew. These were self-built neighborhoods, home to hundreds of thousands of migrants who had come from poorer regions of Spain seeking work. They lived in precarious conditions, often without running water, electricity, or sanitation. This hidden city of poverty existed on the margins, largely ignored by the official city. However, as Barcelona began preparing for the 1992 Olympics, the barracas became an embarrassment. They were systematically cleared away, their residents rehoused in new housing blocks far from the city center, and the hillsides were landscaped into parks, erasing almost all physical traces of the communities that had lived there for decades. Just south of the city lies a wide, flat plain, the delta of the Llobregat River, a fertile expanse of agricultural land. For centuries, this area has served as Barcelona's breadbasket, its rich soil producing vegetables for the city's markets, with fields laid out in neat geometric patterns, famous for their artichokes. But this flat, open terrain was also valuable for another reason. When Barcelona needed to build a modern international airport, there was only one logical place to put it. The Llobregat Delta offered a vast, unobstructed area right next to the city, and so the airport of El Prat was built. Today, the two landscapes exist side by side in a strange harmony, where you can see planes taking off and landing right next to fields where farmers still tend their crops. A unique meeting of agriculture and aviation. In 2004, Barcelona hosted an unusual event called the Universal Forum of Cultures, intended as a global dialogue on diversity, peace, and sustainability. The event itself was not a resounding success, and is not widely remembered. But, in typical Barcelona fashion, the city used it as a pretext for a major urban transformation. The forum was held on the city's northern waterfront, a forgotten stretch of industrial wasteland. To host the event, the area was completely revitalized, with a massive new convention center, hotels, parks and a marina. A giant solar panel, now one of the city's modern landmarks, was also installed. While the forum came and went, the new neighborhood it created remained, another example of the city leveraging a large-scale event to reclaim and reshape a piece of itself. Two rivers bookend Barcelona, the Llobregat in the south, and the Besòs in the north. For decades, the Besòs was a cautionary tale, an industrial sewer that ranked among the most polluted rivers in all of Europe. Its water was dead, its banks lined with factories and refuse, a place the city had turned its back on. But in the 1990s, a decision was made to bring the river back to life through a massive environmental recovery project. The riverbed was cleaned, water treatment systems were implemented, and the industrial banks were transformed. The final stretch of the river was turned into a beautiful linear park, a green corridor for cycling and walking. The recovery of the Besòs River is a powerful symbol of Barcelona's post-industrial rebirth, a story of turning waste into a shared public space. In the summer of 1909, Barcelona exploded. The city was at the height of its beautiful modernista period, a time of great wealth and artistic creation, but beneath that glittering surface, deep social tensions were simmering. The spark was a government call-up of military reservists, many of them poor working-class men, to fight an unpopular colonial war in Morocco. Protests quickly spiraled into a violent, week-long uprising known as the Tragic Week, a furious outburst of anti-military and anti-clerical sentiment. Mobs roamed the streets, building barricades and burning churches and convents before the army was called in to brutally suppress the revolt. The Tragic Week was a brutal reminder that the elegant city of Gaudí was also a city of profound inequality and anger, a place where social and class conflicts could erupt with devastating force. A port city requires a functioning port, and Barcelona has been fighting a slow battle with the sea for centuries. The city's original Roman port, and later its medieval one, were located in a natural inlet that gradually silted up over time. The sediment washed down by rivers and the currents of the Mediterranean constantly threatened to make the port unusable. To survive as a maritime power, Barcelona had no choice but to innovate, constantly building new port facilities and pushing further and further out into the open sea. This process explains the modern port of Barcelona, a vast, almost entirely artificial creation, a landscape of massive breakwaters, reclaimed land, and deep water basins. The port is not a natural harbor. It is a testament to the city's relentless, centuries-long effort to maintain its vital connection to the sea. In the late 1990s, a new sound began to fill the skies over Barcelona, the sound of low-cost airlines. This was the final, crucial ingredient in a recipe that would transform the city forever. While Barcelona was already a popular destination, the arrival of budget air travel made it accessible to millions more, making a weekend trip cheap and easy from anywhere in Europe. This influx of visitors turned tourism into the city's dominant industry, bringing economic benefits but also fundamentally altering the daily life of the central neighborhoods. The hum of wheeled suitcases on cobblestones became a constant soundtrack, and small local shops were replaced by souvenir stores. The rise of low-cost travel was the catalyst that turned Barcelona from a beloved European city into a global mega-tourism destination, a change that continues to shape its identity and its challenges. The 14th century represented Barcelona's golden age, a time when it was a dominant maritime power, with ships controlling trade routes across the Mediterranean. The city was wealthy, confident and growing. Then came the Black Death. The plague arrived in 1348, and proved to be a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions, with estimates suggesting that nearly half of the city's population perished. This was a demographic collapse from which Barcelona would not recover for centuries, as the plague abruptly ended the city's golden age. The loss of so many people, from skilled craftsmen to powerful merchants, crippled the economy, and political and economic power began to shift away from Barcelona towards other regions. The Black Death was a devastating turning point, a moment of profound trauma that sent the city into a long period of decline, reshaping the course of its history forever. To step inside the Sagrada Familia is to enter another world, a sacred forest conceived by Antoni Gaudí. He did not want to build just another church. He aimed to create a space for contemplation that felt deeply rooted in the natural world. As you look up, his vision is made real. The immense stone columns are not straight. They soar towards the ceiling and then branch out, like giant trees reaching for the sun. This branching structure is not merely beautiful, but a work of engineering genius, distributing the immense weight of the roof. The light does not simply illuminate the space, it filters down from high windows, as if through a canopy of leaves, creating an effect that is both breathtaking and deeply peaceful. You feel as if you are standing in a forest of stone, a space that connects the earth to the heavens, just as Gaudí intended. The Gothic quarter of Barcelona feels ancient, a maze of narrow stone streets that seem to whisper of the Middle Ages. However, much of what you see is not as old as it appears. Many of the most medieval-looking elements are actually romanticized inventions from the early 20th century. A prime example is the famous ornate bridge that crosses Carrer del Bisbe, linking two buildings. It looks as if it has been there for centuries, a perfect piece of Gothic fantasy, but in reality, it was constructed in 1928. It was part of a larger project to Gothicize the neighborhood, creating a more picturesque and appealing version of the past, primarily for the benefit of a growing number of tourists. It is a beautiful piece of architecture, but it functions more as a stage set than a historical artifact, reminding us that cities often curate their own past. In the heart of the Gothic quarter, beneath the quiet stones of the Plaza del Rey, lies a hidden city. Here, the city's history museum, the MUHBA, offers a remarkable journey back in time, allowing you to descend from the medieval square into the largest underground Roman ruins in Europe. It is a vast excavated space where you can walk on the original streets of the ancient city of Bartino. You are no longer in a museum looking at artifacts in cases. You are within the city itself. You can see the foundations of homes, the vats of a winery, the basins of a laundry, and even the remains of a facility that produced garum, the pungent fish sauce loved by the Romans. It is a powerful and direct connection to the city's deepest roots, a whole buried world waiting just below the footsteps of the modern city. Casa Batlló is not just a building, it is a story told in stone, ceramic, and glass. Gaudí transformed a conventional apartment block into a massive architectural fable based on the legend of St. George, the patron saint of Catalonia, and his battle with a dragon. While the facade is a shimmering aquatic dream, the roof is where the story culminates. Its undulating surface is covered in iridescent tiles that look exactly like the scales on the back of a great beast, their colors shifting in the sunlight from blue to green to violet. Plunged into the top of this dragon's back is a small, cross-topped turret, representing the lance of St. George delivering the final blow. The entire building is a monument to this myth, a vibrant and deeply symbolic piece of storytelling that turns a simple house into a legend. High on a hill overlooking the entire city is a place known as the Bunkers del Carmel, a name that is slightly misleading. They were never bunkers but rather anti-aircraft gun emplacements built during the Spanish Civil War to defend Barcelona from aerial bombardments. The guns are long gone, but the massive concrete platforms remain. For years, this was a forgotten, derelict spot, but slowly, people discovered the secret it held: one of the most spectacular, 360-degree panoramic views of Barcelona. Today, the concrete ruins have become an informal public space, where people gather at sunset to watch the city lights begin to twinkle below. It's a place where a remnant of a painful past has been peacefully reclaimed, offering a vantage point of incredible beauty and tranquility. You could easily miss them. Tucked away inside a small, unassuming medieval courtyard off a narrow side street in the Gothic Quarter, stand 4 immense columns. They are a startling sight, completely out of place, hemmed in by the residential buildings that have grown up around them over the centuries. These are not medieval. They are the last standing remnants of the Roman Temple of Augustus. This temple once stood at the highest point of the Roman city of Barcelona, on the small hill called Mount Tabor, and was the center of the Roman Forum, the heart of the ancient city. All that is left are these 4 Corinthian columns, silent witnesses to 2,000 years of history. They are a powerful reminder of the layers of the city, of the ancient world that still exists, hidden within the folds of the present. The Palau de la Música Catalana is an explosion of color, pattern and light, a masterpiece of modernista architecture designed not just for music, but for joy. The architect, Luis Domènech de Montaner, wanted to create a concert hall that felt open and airy, a space that celebrated natural light. The building's most breathtaking feature is its ceiling. Instead of a heavy chandelier, the centerpiece is a massive, inverted dome of stained glass. It is a stunning skylight, depicting a choir of angels surrounding a golden sun. During the day it floods the entire hall with a warm golden glow, as if the sun itself is part of the performance. It is a building designed to be a musical instrument in its own right, a space where light and music become one, creating an experience of overwhelming beauty. The Hospital de São Paulo is unlike any hospital you have ever seen. It is not a single, monolithic building, but a sprawling complex of beautiful, ornate pavilions set in tranquil gardens. When it was designed at the turn of the 20th century, it was a revolutionary concept. The architect, Louis Dominic I Montaner, was a firm believer in the healing power of beauty, thinking that the environment of a hospital was just as important as the medicine practiced within it. He designed a garden city for the sick, where patients could recover surrounded by art, nature, and light. Each pavilion is a unique work of art, covered in colorful mosaics, stained glass, and sculptures. It was a humane and optimistic vision of healthcare, a belief that beauty itself was a form of therapy. Today it stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. From a distance, the Akbar Tower resembles a great geyser of water, shimmering and changing color. As you get closer, you discover the secret to its liquid-like appearance. The building is wrapped in a double skin, an inner wall of solid concrete, and over it, an outer layer, a delicate screen made of almost 60,000 louvers of glass. These are not static. Each louver can be tilted, controlled by a computer system that responds to the sun and the outside temperature. They open and close throughout the day to regulate the building's climate, saving energy and controlling the light inside. This constant, subtle movement, combined with the different colors of the glass panels, gives the tower its characteristic shimmer. It is a building that seems to breathe, its skin constantly adapting to the light and weather of the city. On the southern slope of Montjuic Hill, overlooking the sea, lies a city in miniature. This is the Montjuic Cemetery, a vast and silent metropolis for the dead, built on a steep hillside with terraced streets of elaborate mausoleums climbing towards the sky. It is a place of incredible art and architecture. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the wealthy industrialists of Barcelona competed to build the most impressive mansions in the Eixample district, and they also competed to build the most magnificent tombs for their families. Many of these mausoleums were designed by the same prominent Modernista architects who were building for the living. The result is a stunning, open-air museum of funerary art, a place where the city's history of wealth, ambition and artistic innovation is written in stone. The Basilica of Santa Maria del Mar, often called the Cathedral of the Sea, is a masterpiece of Catalan Gothic architecture, known for its soaring height and elegant simplicity. What makes it truly special, however, is the story of its construction. It was built in the 14th century in just 55 years, an astonishing record for the time, made possible because it was a church built by the people, for the people. It was funded not by the monarchy or the high clergy, but by the merchants and shipwrights of the Ribera district. The physical labor was a community effort, most famously involving the dock workers, known as basteixos, who volunteered to carry each massive stone from the quarry on Montjuic, one by one, on their backs. This church is a testament to their faith and collective effort, a spirit you can still feel in its wide open spaces. As your train moves through the dark tunnels of the Barcelona metro, you might catch a fleeting glimpse of something strange, a flash of a tiled wall, a dark, empty platform, a ghost of a station that is no longer there. The city's metro system has several of these ghost stations. The abandoned Correos station on Line 4 near the old post office was closed in the 1970s when the line was extended. The Gaudí station on Line 5 was built but never opened to the public, its entrance sealed. If you are on the right train and look at just the right moment, you can see them, dark and covered in graffiti, frozen in time. They are forgotten spaces, hidden parts of the city's infrastructure, holding a quiet and eerie presence in the darkness between the bright, bustling stations of the living city. The example grid is famous for its regularity, but Ildefons Cerda's original vision included a feature that was almost entirely lost. He planned for the interior of every single block to be a public garden, imagining a city where, no matter where you lived, you were just steps away from a quiet, green space. It was a beautiful, humane idea. But land in the growing city was valuable, and developers saw the open interiors not as parks, but as opportunities. Over the decades, most of the courtyards were built over with workshops, garages and extra buildings. In recent years, however, the city has begun to reclaim some of them. These interiors de Ila are hidden oases, quiet parks accessible only through the surrounding buildings, a small, precious echo of Cerda's original, greener dream for Barcelona. Most cities have a triumphal arch, and they usually commemorate a military victory, but Barcelona's Arc de Triomphe is different. Standing at the entrance to the Parc de la Ciutadella, it was not built to celebrate a battle, but as the grand entrance gate to the 1888 Universal Exposition. Its purpose was to welcome the world and celebrate progress, not war. This is reflected in its design. Instead of cold white marble, it is made of warm red brick, in a Moorish revival style. The sculptural friezes that adorn it do not depict soldiers and generals, but are allegories of agriculture, industry, science and art. It is a civic monument, not a military one, celebrating the achievements that build a city up, not the conflicts that tear it down. It is a monument to peace and human ingenuity. At the very bottom of La Rambla, where the city meets the sea, a tall column rises into the sky, topped with a statue of Christopher Columbus, pointing out over the water. The monument is 60 meters tall, a familiar landmark on the city's skyline. What many people don't realize is that you can go inside. Hidden within the narrow iron column is a tiny, almost claustrophobic elevator that slowly carries a handful of visitors at a time to the very top. There you emerge into a small circular viewing gallery right at the feet of the statue. The space is tight, but the view is unique, offering a stunning panorama of the port, the sea and the entire length of La Rambla, as it cuts a path through the heart of the old city. It's a secret viewpoint, hidden in plain sight. From the ground, the Mercat de Santa Caterina is a bustling neighborhood market, but from above, it is a spectacular work of art. The market was renovated in 2005, and the architects, Enric Morales and Benedetta Tagliabue, gave it an extraordinary new roof. It is a vast, undulating wave of color that seems to float above the old market walls, covered in 325,000 ceramic tiles in 67 different colors, arranged in a vibrant, pixelated pattern. The design is not random, it is an abstract representation of the colorful fruits and vegetables sold in the stalls below. The roof is a giant mosaic that reflects the life and energy of the market it covers, a joyful and uniquely Barcelonian piece of public art that celebrates food, color, and community. One of Barcelona's most iconic symbols is not a grand building or a famous monument, but something you find under your feet. As you walk through the Eixample district, if you look down at the pavement, you will see that many of the sidewalks are paved with a particular type of concrete tile. It is gray, hexagonal, and decorated with a simple, four-petaled flower design. This is the panneau de fleurs, or flower tile. It was originally designed by the modernista architect Josep Puig I Cadafalch, around 1900, for the entrance of a single building, but the design was so practical and elegant that the city adopted it. It has since been laid on countless kilometers of sidewalks, a small, humble detail that has become a subtle and beautiful part of the city's visual identity. The Sagrada Familia has two main completed facades, and they could not be more different. The Nativity facade, which Gaudí supervised, is a joyful, intricate, and life-affirming explosion of detail. The Passion facade, completed long after his death, is stark, somber, and unsettling. This was a deliberate choice. The sculptor, Josep Maria Subirats, knew he could not and should not try to imitate Gaudí. To depict the story of Christ's suffering and crucifixion, he developed a harsh, angular, geometric style. The figures are gaunt and expressive, their forms evoking pain and brutality. The contrast with Gaudí's organic, flowing work is jarring, and it is meant to be. It is a powerful and challenging piece of art that forces the viewer to confront the suffering at the heart of the story, making the entire building a more complex and complete theological statement. Some buildings are defined by their walls. The Mies van der Rohe Pavilion is defined by their absence. It is a building made of almost nothing but space, light, and luxurious materials. Originally the German pavilion for the 1929 International Exposition, it was a radical statement of modernist principles. The original was dismantled after the fair, but its influence was so profound that an identical replica was built on the same site in 1986. It is a masterpiece of minimalism, with a design based on an open plan, where walls don't enclose rooms but instead direct the flow of space. These walls are not made of brick or plaster, but of exquisite slabs of marble, red onyx and travertine, polished to a mirror finish. It is a building that feels both simple and infinitely complex, a quiet, meditative space for architecture itself. During the Spanish Civil War, the threat of aerial bombing was a constant reality for the people of Barcelona. To protect themselves, citizens dug hundreds of air raid shelters all over the city. Most were small, private affairs in the basements of buildings, but some were large, collective projects. Refugee 307, in the Pobl Sec neighborhood, is one of these, dug into the base of Montjuic Hill by ordinary people, a network of tunnels stretching for hundreds of meters. It is preserved today as a museum, and walking through its narrow, brick-lined corridors is a chilling experience where you can see the infirmary, the toilets, and the children's area. Refugee 307 offers a powerful glimpse into the daily reality of life during the war, but it is just one of countless forgotten shelters that still lie dormant, a hidden map of fear beneath the city's streets. The 1992 Olympics gave Barcelona a new skyline, with two identical-looking towers rising above the new Olympic port, the Hotel Arts and the Torre Mapfre. When they were completed, they were the tallest buildings in Spain, standing as sleek, modern sentinels, guarding the entrance to the city from the sea. The Hotel Arts is famous for the giant golden fish sculpture by Frank Gehry at its base. The Torre Mapfre is a little more reserved, an office building with a clean corporate facade, but it has a secret. On its very top, there is a large, pristine white helipad, built as a requirement for a building of its height and prestige. Yet in all the years since it was constructed, it has famously never once been used. It sits there, high above the city, a perfect circle, waiting for an arrival that never comes. On the outskirts of Barcelona, in the suburb of Sant Just Desvern, stands a building that looks as if it has landed from another planet. This is Walden 7, a monumental apartment complex designed by Ricardo Bofill. From the outside, it is a colossal terracotta-colored structure, a fortress of interlocking modules that resembles a sci-fi hive. But the stern exterior hides a breathtaking inner world. The building is organized around a series of vast interior courtyards, which are a labyrinth of walkways, bridges and staircases, all painted in vibrant shades of blue, violet and yellow. It is a vertical village, a utopian experiment in communal living from the 1970s. To step inside is to enter a surreal and beautiful world, a hidden city of color and geometry, a stark contrast to its monolithic facade. The Rec Comtal was once the city's most important waterway, an open canal that powered medieval industry. Today it is gone, buried and built over, a ghost in the urban landscape. But if you know where to look, you can still trace its path through modern Barcelona. The canal has left its memory in the city's street names. In the El Born district you will find the Carrer del Rec, which means Canal Street, and nearby is the Carrer de la Sequia, or Ditch Street. These names are not arbitrary. They mark the exact route the water once flowed. The canal still exists as a buried waterway in some sections, a hidden river, running beneath the feet of pedestrians. The street names are like a secret map, allowing you to follow the path of a medieval canal through the bustling contemporary city. When the city of Barcelona finally gained control of the hated Ciutadella fortress in the 19th century, the public demanded its complete demolition. However, a few key buildings were spared. 3 of the original 18th century structures were preserved and given new, civic functions in a powerful act of repurposing. The fortress's arsenal, a large and imposing building, was transformed into the seat of the Catalan parliament, becoming a center of democracy in a place designed for suppression. The old military chapel was also saved and remains a military parish church today. And the governor's palace, once the home of the king's top military commander, was converted into a secondary school. These 3 buildings stand today within the peaceful greenery of the park, their original purpose inverted, their architecture, a tangible link to a history that the city has overcome. High on Tibidabo Mountain, overlooking the city, is a vintage amusement park that feels like a step back in time. Inside the park, there is a small, wonderful museum dedicated to automata, intricate mechanical figures from the late 19th and early 20th centuries. With the drop of a coin, they spring to life, playing music, dancing, or acting out small scenes. The collection is full of charm and nostalgia, but one figure is famously eerie. In a glass case sits an automaton of a clown, El Payaso de la Mar. He holds a pen, and when activated, he dips it in ink, and slowly, mechanically, writes out a short letter to the visitor. His painted face is frozen in a smile, but there is something unsettling about his movements. He is a strange and memorable relic from a time when entertainment was a more mechanical, and perhaps more mysterious affair. The weekend in Barcelona rarely begins with a sudden burst of energy, but rather with a gentle and civilized ritual. Sometime around noon on a Saturday or Sunday, you will notice friends beginning to gather for the cherished tradition known as Fer el Vermut, which translates simply as to do the vermouth. This is a deliberate pause before the main event of lunch, a moment of transition savored at a local bar or a more modern vermuteria. The drink itself is typically a sweet red vermouth, drawn from a tap, served in a small glass over ice, and always accompanied by a single olive and a slice of orange. The purpose is not about drinking heavily, but about fostering conversation and sharing a moment that marks the shift from the working week to the leisure of the weekend. It is a small, perfect ritual that establishes the relaxed and social tone for the remainder of the day. On one day each year, April 23rd, Barcelona becomes what might be the most romantic city in the world. This is Sant Jordi's Day, Catalonia's version of Valentine's Day, which is also a celebration of literature. The tradition is simple and beautiful. Men are supposed to give women a single red rose, and in return, women give men a book. The streets, especially La Rambla, transform into a massive open-air book and flower market, the air filled with the scent of roses. It is a day for strolling, for browsing, and for quiet gestures of affection and intellectual curiosity. The exchange of a book and a flower is a tradition that celebrates both love and culture in equal measure, filling the entire city with a unique atmosphere of gentle romance and literary passion, a day unlike any other in the city's calendar. Winter in Catalonia brings a unique and wonderfully messy feast known as the calçotada. It is a celebration of a specific type of vegetable, the calçot, which is like a large mild spring onion, grilled over a hot fire until the outer layers are completely blackened and charred. The real fun is in the eating, which is done without a knife and fork. You peel off the burnt outer layer with your bare hands to reveal the tender, white stalk inside. Then you dip the calçot into a rich, nutty romesco sauce and eat it in one go, tilting your head back. It is a joyous, communal and very messy affair, with friends gathering at rustic restaurants or in country homes, often wearing bibs, their hands stained with soot. The calçotada is more than a meal, it's a rustic party that embraces the simple pleasures of the season. At Christmas time, nativity scenes, or pesebre, appear all over Catalonia, depicting the traditional scene of the manger in Bethlehem. If you look closely, however, you will find a small, surprising figure tucked away in a corner. This is the cagana, which literally means the crapper. It is a small figure of a peasant, with his trousers down, in the act of defecating. To outsiders this can seem shocking or disrespectful, but in Catalonia, the cagana is a beloved and essential part of the nativity. Far from being offensive, he is seen as a symbol of fertility and good luck. His presence is thought to fertilize the earth and ensure a good harvest for the coming year. He is a humble, earthy and humorous reminder of the cycles of life, hidden within the sacred scene. The correfoc, or fire run, is one of the most intense and thrilling parts of any Catalan festival. As darkness falls, the sound of rhythmic drumming begins to fill the streets. Then they appear, groups of people dressed as devils, dragons, and other beasts, dancing and leaping through the crowds, brandishing pitchforks and staffs that spew a constant shower of sparks and fire. The air grows thick with the smell of gunpowder and smoke as the drums pound out a relentless, hypnotic beat. It is not a parade to be watched from a safe distance. The point is to be in the middle of it, to dance with the devils, to feel the heat and the energy. It is a primal and cathartic experience, a ritual of fire and noise that feels both ancient and exhilaratingly alive, a true baptism by fire. To understand the rhythm of Barcelona, one must understand its relationship with time, especially concerning food. Dinner happens late, much later than in many other parts of the world. If you walk into a restaurant at 8 p.m., you might find it quiet, even empty. But this is not a sign that the restaurant is unpopular. It is simply too early. The city's residents are likely still enjoying an evening stroll, or finishing a pre-dinner drink. The restaurants only begin to fill up around 9:30 p.m., and the real buzz, the peak of the evening's energy, doesn't arrive until between 10 and 11 p.m. This late-night dining culture is a fundamental part of the city's identity, shaping the entire rhythm of the evening, extending the day, and defining the unique pulse of Barcelona's nightlife. Pa amb tomàquet, or bread with tomato, is the foundation of Catalan cuisine. It is more than just a recipe. It is a fundamental gesture, a ritual performed at the table. It sounds simple, but the details are important. You start with a slice of good rustic bread, lightly toasted. Then, you take a clove of garlic and rub it gently over the surface of the bread. Next comes the key ingredient, a ripe, juicy tomato, cut in half, which you rub firmly onto the bread, so its pulp and juice soak into the crust. Finally, you finish with a drizzle of good olive oil, and a sprinkle of salt. It is a taste of the Catalan earth, a perfect combination of simple, fresh ingredients, served with almost every meal as a gesture of hospitality and a taste of home. At any major festival in Catalonia, you are likely to witness one of the most breathtaking traditions in the world, the castellers. These are human towers, built by teams of ordinary people who have practiced for months. It begins with a wide, solid base of people locking their arms, and then more and more levels are added, each person climbing up the backs of those below them. The tower grows, swaying slightly, reaching heights of up to 10 stories. The entire structure is a marvel of teamwork, balance, and trust. The final, breathtaking moment comes when a small child, the ensaneta, scrambles to the very top, raises a hand with 4 fingers outstretched, and then quickly slides back down. The tower is a symbol of the Catalan motto, strength, balance, courage, and reason, a powerful metaphor for what a community can achieve together. For 1 week, every August, the quiet, residential neighborhood of Gracia transforms into a fantasy world for the Festes de Gracia, one of the city's most beloved street festivals. The premise is a competition between the streets, with residents of each street working for months to create elaborate, immersive decorations, often using recycled materials. The results are astonishing. One street might become an underwater world, with giant jellyfish made of plastic bottles hanging overhead, while another might be a prehistoric jungle, or a scene from a famous film. Each street has its own theme, its own bar, and its own schedule of concerts and events. For 1 week, the neighborhood becomes a massive, walkable art installation, a testament to community spirit and collective creativity. It is a truly magical time to be in the city. On Sunday mornings, a quiet and beautiful ritual unfolds in the large plaza in front of the Barcelona Cathedral, where circles of people begin to form, their hands linked. This is the sardana, the national dance of Catalonia. It is not a fiery or passionate dance like flamenco, but slow, measured, and deeply communal. The dancers take small, precise steps, moving in unison to the distinctive sound of a live, cobbler, band, with its reedy woodwinds and brass instruments. People of all ages join in, from elderly couples who have been dancing for decades, to young people learning the steps. You don't need a partner, just a place in the circle. It is a dance of quiet dignity and unity, a symbol of Catalan identity that is both understated and deeply felt, a peaceful and welcoming way to start a Sunday. In Barcelona, lunch is not a quick sandwich at a desk. It is the main meal of the day, and a cherished institution known as the menu del dia. On weekdays, almost every restaurant offers this fixed-price, three-course lunch, which typically includes a starter, a main course of meat or fish, and a dessert or coffee, with a drink also included. The menu del dia is a great equalizer. You will see office workers in suits sitting next to construction workers in dusty clothes, all enjoying a proper sit-down meal. It is an affordable and democratic tradition that cuts across all social classes, a moment to pause, to refuel, and to socialize, a central part of the rhythm of the working day in the city. The night of June 23rd is the shortest night of the year, and Barcelona celebrates it with fire and noise. This is the festival of Sant Joan, a massive chaotic celebration of the summer solstice, a night of pagan traditions and wild energy. As soon as the sun sets, the entire city erupts with the sound of fireworks, not from official, organized displays, but set off by families and groups of friends in plazas, on street corners, and from apartment balconies. The air fills with smoke and the smell of gunpowder. Down on the beaches, the celebration is even more intense. The sand, covered with thousands of people, gathered around bonfires, sharing food and drink, and partying until sunrise. It is a night when the normal rules are suspended, a loud and joyful welcome to the summer. The Boqueria market on La Rambla operates on two distinct rhythms. To experience the first, you must go early in the morning, when the market belongs to the city. You will see local residents with their shopping carts and chefs from the city's best restaurants, all carefully selecting the freshest fish, meat and produce. The atmosphere is serious, professional and focused, with sounds of chopping, haggling, and the daily business of food. But as the day wears on, a new rhythm takes over. The central aisle floods with tourists, drawn by the market's fame, and the soundscape changes. The dominant noise is now the whir of blenders, as dozens of stalls sell colorful, fresh fruit smoothies to go. The market transforms from a local provisioner to a global attraction, its two identities coexisting in a delicate and sometimes chaotic balance. In Barcelona, if you order a grilled ham and cheese sandwich, you ask for a bikini. The name has a curious origin story that has nothing to do with swimwear. In the 1950s, There was a popular concert hall and ballroom in the city called the Sala Bikini, a glamorous place known for its live music and dancing. The club started serving a simple, pressed sandwich with ham and cheese, a version of the French croque monsieur, and it became so popular that people started to associate the sandwich with the venue. Soon, people were going to other bars and asking for the sandwich from the Bikini Club. The name stuck. Today, the Sycamores Bikini is a classic comfort food, found on cafe menus all over the city, a tasty reminder of a long-gone ballroom and the city's post-war nightlife. In Barcelona, a meal doesn't end when the food is gone, it ends when the conversation is over. This is the art of the sobre taula, which literally means over the table. It is the time spent lingering after a meal, long after the plates have been cleared. Instead of rushing off, people stay at the table, talking for hours over coffee, a digestive, or nothing at all. This is often the most important part of the meal, as the food is just the prelude. The sobre taula is about connection, about sharing stories, debating and enjoying each other's company without the pressure of time. It is a tradition that values conversation as much as cuisine, reflecting a culture that understands that the purpose of sharing a meal is not just to eat, but to be together. It is a civilized and deeply human ritual. The traditional afternoon siesta is a custom that is slowly fading in the fast-paced modern city. In the busy central districts, most shops and businesses now stay open all day. But if you wander into the quieter, more residential neighborhoods like Gracia or Sants, you can still feel its gentle rhythm. Here, many of the small, family-run shops still observe the old ways. Around 2 p.m., you will see the metal shutters coming down as the baker, the butcher, and the hardware store all close for a few hours. The streets become quiet and peaceful as the city takes a collective pause. Then, around 5 p.m., the shutters go up again, and the neighborhood comes back to life. This afternoon lull creates a distinct, two-part rhythm to the day, a quiet interlude that is a cherished part of life in these less touristy quarters. No local festival in Barcelona is complete without the gigants or giants. These are enormous papier-mâché figures, often 4 or 5 meters tall, built on a light frame that allows a person to get inside and carry the figure on their shoulders. The giants typically represent historical or legendary figures, like kings, queens, nobles and peasants from the neighborhood's past. They dance through the streets, bobbing and twirling in a slow, stately procession, their painted faces gazing down at the crowds from high above. They are often accompanied by capgrossos, smaller figures with comically large heads, who run around and interact with the children. For the people of Barcelona, these giants are not just parade floats, they are beloved characters, living symbols of their neighborhood's history and identity, come to life to celebrate with the community. Barcelona has its own unique soundtrack, the sound of the rumba catalana. This musical genre was born in the 1950s in the Romani communities of neighborhoods like Gracia and Hostafrancs. It is a vibrant fusion of sounds, taking the passionate rhythms of Andalusian flamenco and blending them with the melodies of Cuban music and the energy of early rock and roll. The result is something purely Barcelonian. The key to the sound is the guitar technique known as the Azani ventilador or fan, a percussive style of strumming that turns the guitar into both a melodic and a rhythmic instrument. The rumba catalana is the sound of the city's streets, a joyful and infectious music that tells the story of migration, fusion, and the creative spirit of Barcelona's diverse communities. You can learn a great deal about a Barcelona bar from its patates braves. This seemingly simple dish of fried potatoes with a spicy sauce is a cornerstone of tapas culture, but there is nothing simple about the passions it inspires. Every bar and restaurant has its own version, and the quality of the braves is a matter of intense local pride and endless debate. The potatoes must be crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside, but the real secret is the sauce. A proper salsa brava is a complex, spicy tomato-based sauce, often with a hint of smoky paprika, and many places also serve it with a side of creamy garlic aioli. For locals, judging a bar's braves is a serious business. It is a benchmark of quality, a test of the kitchen's character, and a delicious entry point into the city's culinary soul. In many parts of the world, sparkling wine is reserved for special occasions, a drink for birthdays, anniversaries, and New Year's Eve. In Barcelona, however, cava is an everyday pleasure. Cava is the region's own sparkling wine, made in the same traditional method as champagne, but with local grape varieties. Here, it is not treated with any particular ceremony. It is enjoyed by the glass at tapas bars, at sidewalk cafes, and with a weekday lunch. People order a glass of cava with the same casual ease as they would a beer, or a glass of still wine. It is refreshing, affordable, and deeply integrated into the daily social life of the city. It is a small, constant celebration, a reminder that a little bit of sparkle should not be saved only for special days. As the clock ticks towards midnight on New Year's Eve, people all over Barcelona are not looking for someone to kiss. They are preparing for a different ritual that requires focus and a little bit of luck. The tradition is to eat 12 grapes, one for each chime of the clock at midnight. It sounds easy, but it is a frantic and often hilarious race against time. You have to swallow one grape for each of the 12 chimes, without choking or laughing too much. If you succeed, it is said to bring good luck for the 12 months of the coming year. Supermarkets sell small, seedless grapes in little plastic containers, just for this purpose. It is a shared, collective moment of silliness and hope, a funny and slightly stressful way to welcome the new year. On a hot summer afternoon in Barcelona, there is no drink more refreshing than horchata de exufa. It is a sweet, milky white beverage that is served ice-cold. It is not a dairy product. It is made from xufes or tiger nuts, which are small root vegetables. The tiger nuts are soaked, blended with water and sugar, and then strained. The result is a unique and delicious drink, with a slightly nutty and earthy flavor. It is traditionally served in historic cafes called calçotadas, some of which have been in business for generations. The classic way to enjoy it is with a poleteja, farten, a long, thin, sweet biscuit that is perfect for dipping. It is the quintessential taste of a Barcelona summer, a cool and sweet escape from the heat of the city. The entire rhythm of the city can change on a single day, a Barça match day. When FC Barcelona plays at home, the city transforms. Hours before the game, the streets around the massive Camp Nou stadium begin to fill with a river of fans, all dressed in the club's blue and garnet colors. The bars are packed, the air electric with anticipation. But the most powerful ritual takes place inside the stadium, just before kickoff, when nearly 100,000 people rise to their feet and sing the club's anthem, the Ereleca, Cant del Barça. The sound is overwhelming, a collective expression of identity and passion. For many Catalans, the club is més que un club, more than a club. It is a symbol of their culture and their identity, and the singing of the anthem is a powerful reminder of that deep connection. The Els Encants flea market is one of the oldest in Europe, a chaotic and wonderful treasure trove of second-hand goods. It has a modern, mirrored canopy now, but its ancient rhythms persist. The market has a unique ritual that takes place in the early morning hours on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, the public auction. Large lots of unsorted goods, from house clearances, shop closures and storage units, are sold off to the highest bidder. This is not a quiet, refined auction, but a fast-paced, energetic affair that draws in professional dealers, antique hunters, and curious onlookers. They gather in a central pit, examining the piles of goods, looking for a hidden gem. It is the raw, unfiltered heart of the market, a glimpse into the world of trade and speculation, before the general public arrives to browse. In the late afternoon in Barcelona, there is a time for a classic snack or merienda, and there is no snack more classic or more indulgent than chocolate amb churros. This is not your typical hot chocolate. The chocolate is a different beast entirely. It is so thick and rich that it is almost a pudding, dark, glossy and barely liquid, designed to be eaten with a spoon. But its true purpose is for dipping. And the perfect vehicle for dipping is the balllasura, a long, ridged piece of fried dough, crispy on the outside and soft on the inside, often dusted with sugar. The ritual is simple. You dip the churro into the thick chocolate, coating it completely. It is a perfect combination of textures, and a wonderfully decadent way to pause and refuel in the afternoon. At the bottom of La Rambla, Christopher Columbus stands atop a tall column, his arm outstretched, confidently pointing towards the new world he discovered. Or is he? If you were to check a compass, you would find a strange discrepancy. Columbus is not pointing west towards the Americas, nor is he pointing towards his home city of Genoa. He is pointing southeast, out across the Mediterranean Sea. There are many theories for this geographical anomaly. Some say he is simply pointing towards the sea as a generic gesture to his maritime achievements. A more practical legend claims the sculptor and planners thought it looked better this way, as having him point inland over the city's Gothic quarter would have been awkward. So, for the sake of aesthetics, Columbus points forever in the wrong direction. If you visit the beautiful cloister of the Barcelona Cathedral, you will find a peaceful garden with a fountain, palm trees, and a small, unexpected community of residents, a flock of white geese. There are always exactly 13 of them, and they are not there by accident. The geese are kept in the cloister to honor Saint Eulalia, one of the co-patron saints of Barcelona. According to legend, Eulalia was a young Roman Christian girl who was martyred for her faith in the 4th century at the age of just 13. The 13 geese are a living tribute to her, one for each year of her short life. They waddle through the ancient arches, honking at tourists, a strange and charming tradition that brings a touch of farm life to the heart of the Gothic quarter. As you walk through Barcelona's parks, you will undoubtedly hear a loud, squawking chatter. If you look up, you will see a flash of bright green. The city is home to a large and noisy population of wild monk parakeets. These birds are a common sight, building their huge, messy communal nests in the palm trees. However, they are not native to Spain. Their story in Barcelona begins in the 1970s, when they were popular as pets imported from South America. Inevitably, some escaped, and some were released by their owners. Experts expected them to die out in the unfamiliar environment, but the parakeets adapted surprisingly well to the mild climate and urban landscape of Barcelona. They thrived, and now their descendants are one of the city's most visible and audible forms of wildlife, a splash of tropical color in a European city. The neo-Gothic bridge on Carrer del Bisbe is one of the most photographed spots in the Gothic quarter, but as you walk underneath it you might want to look up. Hidden on the underside of the bridge is a small secret carving, a skull pierced through by a dagger. Most people pass by without ever noticing it. Its origins are mysterious, but it has given rise to a dark local legend that claims the dagger is holding the city together. It is said that if the dagger is ever removed from the skull, the city of Barcelona will crumble and fall. It is a spooky and dramatic piece of folklore attached to a tiny hidden detail, adding a layer of dark magic to a bridge that is itself a romantic fiction. a secret story hiding in plain sight. All over Barcelona, you see a particular symbol on bank branches, on billboards, and on the shirts of the city's basketball team. A blue star, with yellow and red dots inside it. This is the logo for La Caixa, one of Spain's largest banks. It is so common that it blends into the urban landscape. But this is no ordinary corporate logo. It was designed in 1980 by one of the most famous artists of the 20th century, the Catalan surrealist painter, Joan Miró. He created the design, along with the font, as a commission for the bank. Because it is so ubiquitous, it has become one of the most visible pieces of public art in all of Spain, a small, daily encounter with the work of a great master, hidden in the form of a corporate brand. In a quiet, beautiful square in the Gothic quarter, there is a church with a deeply scarred wall. The stone facade of the Church of Sant Felip Neri is covered in pockmarks and gouges. For years, a plaque claimed that these were the marks of anarchist executions during the Spanish Civil War, a fiction created by the Franco regime. The truth is much more tragic. The scars are from shrapnel. In 1938, a fascist bomb was dropped on the square, a direct hit that killed 42 people. Most of them were refugee children who had been playing in the square and taking shelter in the church's basement. The pockmarked wall is not a sign of age or random violence. It is a silent, powerful memorial to one of the most brutal moments in the city's history. The Passion facade of the Sagrada Familia is filled with stark, angular sculptures depicting the final days of Christ. Next to the sculpture of the Kiss of Judas, there is a curious detail that is easy to overlook. A 4x4 grid of numbers carved into the stone. This is a magic square, a mathematical puzzle, where the numbers in each row, column and diagonal add up to the same sum. In this case, the magic number is 33. The sum is always 33, no matter which way you add the numbers. This is not a random choice. 33 is the traditional age of Christ at the time of his death. The sculptor, Josep Maria Subirachs, included this square as a quiet, intellectual symbol of the Passion, a small puzzle of faith and mathematics, hidden within the larger drama. Ildefons Cerda gave Barcelona its modern shape. His design for the Eixample district was a visionary work of urban planning, a masterpiece of foresight and social conscience that planned a healthier, more equitable city. His grid is the single most defining feature of Barcelona today. One would think that the man who designed the entire city would have been celebrated and rewarded. But the reality is tragic. Cerda's plan was imposed by the national government in Madrid, against the wishes of the local city council, which had its own rival plan. He was seen as an outsider, and his project was plagued by political opposition and financial problems. He was never properly paid for his monumental work, spent his own fortune on the project, and died in poverty and debt, his genius largely unappreciated in his own lifetime. At the top of La Rambla, near Plaça de Catalunya, there is a small, ornate drinking fountain called the Font de Canaletes. It is a handsome piece of 19th-century ironwork, but its fame comes from the superstition attached to it. A small plaque on the fountain carries a promise. It says that anyone who drinks from its water is destined to return to Barcelona. For decades, visitors have made a point of taking a sip, hoping to ensure their future return. The fountain has another important role in the city's life, as it is the traditional gathering spot for fans of the FC Barcelona football club. After a major victory, thousands of fans flock to the fountain to celebrate, climbing on it and singing late into the night. It is a small landmark with a big role in the city's heart. In a quiet square in the Gothic Quarter, there is a beautiful and moving mural of two people kissing. From a distance it looks like a single large photograph, but as you get closer you realize it is something much more complex. The mural, called The Kiss of Freedom, is not a painting or a single photo. It is a photomosaic. It is composed of 4,000 tiny ceramic tiles, each printed with a photograph submitted by local residents of Barcelona. The photos all depict a personal moment of freedom, a smile, a landscape, a hug, a simple moment of joy. Together, these thousands of small moments of individual freedom combine to create a single, powerful image of love and connection. It is a piece of public art that is literally made from the community it represents. The highest peak in the Collserola mountain range, the green wall behind Barcelona, is Mount Tibidabo. It is crowned by a church and a vintage amusement park, and it offers the most commanding view of the city. The name itself is strange and evocative. Tibidabo is Latin, meaning, I will give to you. These are the words that the devil supposedly said to Jesus during his temptation in the desert. According to the Gospel of Matthew, the devil took Jesus to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world, saying, all this I will give to you, if you will bow down and worship me. The name of the mountain is a permanent reminder of this biblical story of temptation, a fittingly dramatic name for a place with such a powerful, all-encompassing view. Next to the cathedral, there is a beautiful Gothic building called the Casa de l'Ardiaca, or Archdeacon's House. In its courtyard, you will find a very unusual mailbox designed in the early 20th century by the great modernista architect, Lluís Domènech de Montaner. It is a work of art, carved from stone, but it is also a clever piece of social commentary. The design features 3 swallows, meant to symbolize the desired speed and freedom of communication. Just below them, however, there is a turtle, representing the frustrating slowness and inefficiency of the justice system, as the building was the headquarters of the Lawyers' Association at the time. It is a witty and slightly cynical joke, carved in stone for all to see, a small protest against bureaucracy hidden in a beautiful object. On the northern edge of the city, there is a garden that feels like a secret from another time. This is the Parc del Laberint Horta, the oldest garden in Barcelona. It is a beautiful neoclassical garden from the 18th century, filled with pavilions, statues, and quiet pools. But its main attraction is right in its name. At its heart is a genuine, life-sized hedge maze. The tall, dense cypress walls create a challenging labyrinth that is easy to get lost in. If you manage to navigate your way through the confusing twists and turns, you will find your reward at the center. There, you will discover a small clearing with a statue of Eros, the Greek god of love. The message is clear. Love is the prize waiting at the center of life's confusing labyrinth. A romantic and philosophical puzzle to solve. On the busy shopping street of Portal de l'Angel, among the modern storefronts of global brands, there is a curious relic from another era. On the facade of the historic Coté building, a giant thermometer is mounted vertically. It is not a digital display or a modern gimmick, but a genuine, functioning mercury thermometer, several meters tall. The Coté thermometer has been here since the 1920s, when the building housed a famous optics shop. For generations, it has been faithfully displaying the city's temperature to passers-by. It is a strange and charming piece of urban furniture, a functional object that has become an accidental landmark. In a world of smartphones and weather apps, this giant, analog device continues its simple, silent work of telling the people of Barcelona how hot or cold it is. As you move through Barcelona's newer neighborhoods, you might see something strange. A tall, solitary brick factory chimney, standing in the middle of a modern park, or rising up between new apartment buildings. These are ghosts of the city's industrial past. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, neighborhoods like Poblenou were filled with textile factories, the Catalan Manchester. When the factories were closed and demolished to make way for the modern city, a decision was made to preserve some of the chimneys. They were saved as monuments, memorials to the industrial heritage of the neighborhood, and the workers who toiled in their shadow. They stand now as surreal and beautiful sculptures, their original function gone, their presence, a powerful link between the city's working-class past and its post-industrial present. The Mercat de Santa Caterina, with its famous, colorful, wavy roof, is a vibrant place of commerce, but it is built on a site with a much more somber history. Before the market, a convent stood here, and before the convent, this was the site of a Roman necropolis, a cemetery on the outskirts of the ancient city of Barcelona. During the market's renovation, these deeper layers of history were uncovered. Instead of simply building over them, the architects decided to make them visible. In the basement of the market, near the garbage disposal area, a section of the ancient Roman funeral way has been preserved. Shoppers can look down through glass panels in the floor and see the ancient tombs and even skeletal remains, a startling and fascinating juxtaposition of life and death, of fresh food and ancient bones. Most cities are content with one patron saint. Barcelona, in its typical fashion, has two. The city's official, historical patron saint is Saint Eulalia, the young girl martyred by the Romans, whose feast day in February is a relatively quiet affair. But the city's biggest and most spectacular festival, La Messe, held in September, is in honor of the other patron saint, the Virgin of Mercy. The story goes that in the 17th century, Barcelona was suffering from a terrible plague of locusts. The city council prayed to the Virgin of Mercy for help, and when the plague ended, they voted to make her a co-patron saint as a thank you. The Pope at the time was not pleased with this unilateral decision, but the tradition stuck. And so Barcelona has two saints, and two major festivals. The Montjuïc cemetery is full of beautiful and elaborate tombs, but one, in particular, has attracted a dark and persistent urban legend. It is a 19th-century tomb belonging to a textile manufacturer named Francesc Gili I Vives. The tomb itself is not especially grand, but it is marked with some unusual symbols, a skull and crossbones, which is not uncommon in funerary art, but above it, a large, detailed carving of a bat. The combination of the bat and the skull has fueled a local legend that this is not the tomb of a textile manufacturer at all, but the tomb of a vampire. There is no historical basis for this, but the legend persists, making the tomb a popular spot for those interested in the city's darker folklore. The Basilica of Santa Maria del Mar is a deeply pious building, a soaring testament to the faith of the medieval merchants and sailors who built it. Its interior is a model of Gothic purity and grace. But high on one of its exterior walls, there is a small detail that seems to belong to a different world. It is a small stone carving, easily missed by the casual observer, that depicts a man and a woman locked in an explicit erotic embrace. Why this strangely secular, even scandalous detail was included on the wall of a 14th-century church is a mystery. Some say it was a stonemason's private joke, or a symbol of fertility. Whatever its origin, it is a surprising and very human touch on a building otherwise dedicated to the divine, a small secret hidden in plain sight. When sculptor Josep Maria Subirachs took on the commission for the Passion facade of the Sagrada Familia, he was faced with a difficult task: how to continue the work of a genius like Gaudí, without simply copying him. He developed his own stark, angular style, but he also included a clever and subtle tribute to the master. If you look closely at the Roman centurions in the scene of the flagellation, you will notice their helmets have a strange, almost organic shape. They are not historically accurate Roman helmets. Subirachs modeled them directly on the iconic chimneys that Gaudí designed for the rooftop of his building La Pedrera, also known as Casa Mila. It is a brilliant and witty homage, a way of tipping his hat to Gaudí while creating something entirely new, where chimneys designed to let out smoke become helmets for the soldiers of the Passion. In a shadowy corner near the cathedral, set into an ancient-looking wall, there is a letterbox that seems to be from the Roman era. It is carved to look like a classical sarcophagus, with a stern face whose open mouth serves as the slot for mail. It feels like you are posting a letter into antiquity itself. But like many things in the Gothic Quarter, it is a clever piece of historical theatre. The letterbox is not Roman, nor is it medieval. It is a 16th century creation, from a time when there was a great fashion for all things classical. It was designed to look ancient and important, to lend a sense of gravitas to the building it was attached to. It is a beautiful and functional piece of art, a Renaissance imitation of a Roman artifact, now used for posting modern letters. In the Old City, at number 5 Carrer de la Semolera, you can find what is said to be the narrowest building in Barcelona. It is a strange and comical sight, its facade so slender that it is barely wider than its own front door, with just enough room for a single window on each of the floors above. This was a spite house. The story is that it was built on a tiny, otherwise unusable sliver of land that was left over after a dispute between two neighboring property owners. Rather than leave the gap empty, one of them decided to build on it, perhaps to block the other's light, or simply to claim the land. The result is this impossibly thin house, a permanent, architectural reminder of a long-forgotten argument, a testament to human stubbornness, built to last. In 1929, Barcelona installed its very first traffic light, at the busy intersection of Carrer de Balm and Carrer de Provença, in the Example district. This was a moment of great modernity for the city, but the traffic it was designed to control was very different from that of today. In 1929, the streets of Barcelona were a chaotic mix of new and old, with a growing number of cars but also many horse-drawn carriages, carts and wagons going about their business. The first traffic light had to manage this hybrid flow of traffic, signaling to both motorists and horse drivers. It was a symbol of a city in transition, a mechanical arbiter trying to impose order on a world where the age of the horse and the age of the automobile briefly overlapped. Monuments in cities usually celebrate great historical figures, kings, generals, politicians, or artists. But in the quiet, residential neighborhood of Guinardó, there is a small monument that celebrates something much more humble. It is a small bronze statue of a young boy, dressed in simple clothes, running and pushing a hoop with a stick. The game is called La Retla, and it was once a common sight on the streets of Barcelona, a simple pleasure for children in a time before video games and smartphones. The statue is not heroic or grand. It is small, intimate, and full of gentle nostalgia. It is a rare and beautiful monument that does not commemorate a great battle or a famous person, but a simple, forgotten children's game, and the quiet, everyday life of the city's past. Near the beach, in the Port Olympic area, stands a large, strange white sculpture. It consists of several large, white rectangular forms, with bright red and yellow tips, all tumbling out of a larger box. It is a piece of pop art, created by the famous artist Claes Oldenburg. Its official title is Mistos, which is Catalan for matches, and it is meant to represent a giant, scattered box of matches. But the people of Barcelona had a different idea. To the locals, the sculpture looks exactly like a giant office staple. And so, despite its official title, the sculpture is universally and affectionately known as La Grappa, which means the staple. It is a classic example of how a city's residents can reclaim a piece of public art, giving it their own, more practical, and perhaps more fitting, name. Our walk through Barcelona is coming to an end. Wherever you've drifted to, you don't need to come back. There's nothing more to listen for tonight. Sleep well.